Today we're doing every level of a Fortnite medallion, and we have to start off with the trash level. At level 1, these are the absolute worst of the worst medallions we have gotten in Fortnite. These were not worth grabbing at all. Either the effect was terrible or the effort getting them was not worth the reward they offered you. Like, for example, the Phasma's Blaster medallion, which had you landing in the corner of the map, having to fight a bunch of stormtroopers and a boss just to get a medallion that slightly reduces the heat up and cooldown effect of the Star Wars assault rifles. And those weren't even that good to begin with. And honestly, every time I used this medallion, I couldn't really notice the difference between how fast it heated up and how quickly it cooled down. So it was just never worth picking up, because you would have to mark yourself on the map to everybody, and you have to go through a whole lot of trouble just to get this medallion that doesn't really change your gameplay at all. Another trash medallion was the Aspect of Combat. This one was also in the corner of the map, and you had to defeat an entire boss just to get it, which always puts you at risk of getting third-partied. On top of that, all it would do is give you a small damage boost to your weapon damage, and I'm talking a very, very small boost, anywhere between 4 or 5%. So if an assault rifle did like 24 damage per bullet, it would now do 25. And honestly, that's just not worth it. So let's move up to a level 2 medallion. These are bad medallions, but they might have some use here and there. And one that comes to mind is the birthday medallion that we got last year. It definitely was not good in any way. It gave you a balloon every 56 seconds, and you could have 3 at a time. Someone even found out that you could stick a bubble shield onto the balloons, which is kind of cool, I guess, but that was pretty much the only way this medallion was useful, because in the middle of a fight, randomly getting a balloon when you didn't even plan to have one, it could really throw you off. When this medallion was in the game, there wasn't really a lot of synergy with other items. If you guys remember, the balloon augment back in chapter 4 worked extremely well with the shockwave hammers and the Excalibur rifle, because you can kind of launch yourself up in the air and then use the rifle to shoot down at players from long distance. That was actually useful, and I loved doing that. But when the birthday medallion was in the game, none of those items existed in the loot pool, so it was not worth grabbing and caused people to die unintentionally because of the balloons. Other level 2 medallions are like the Aspect of Speed and the Night Rose medallion. They don't really impact the gameplay too much, and there's only a few scenarios where they're actually useful, but they might be worth grabbing, unlike the level 1 medallions. Now we move on to level 3. These are mid-level medallions. They're not good, but they're not bad either. Some of the most bland medallions in Fortnite. Some are forgettable, but some are good enough to remember, but not so much that you're gonna miss them. There might be some here that casual players enjoyed, but pro players will not go out of their way to get these in tournaments. And unlike level 2 medallions, these medallions will actually be used in a lot more scenarios. Like the Super Shield medallion. It spawned a shield bubble junior whenever you were using a healing item, but it did not last long enough to get a full chug jug off, which was in the loot pool, and it didn't work with other healing items like splashes or healing grenades, and it was only really useful in 0 build. Now, it wasn't necessarily bad. This has saved my life a lot of times in 0 build. You get cracked from across the map, you shockwave, and then you start popping a shield. That shield bubble will come in handy, especially if you can't box up. But I also wouldn't consider it good, because the shield bubble only lasted for a limited time, and with how much movement was in the game, the shield bubble could be countered pretty quickly. Other mid medallions on this list are the First Blood medallion, Infernal Defenses medallion, and the Ringmaster Scar medallion. Some of these sounded more useful than they actually were, and maybe with some buffs they could have been a higher level. But what makes a level 4 medallion? For me, a level 4 medallion is pretty much the chapter 5 medallions. They're gonna get their own level. This was our first introduction to medallions. They all worked the same. Your shield automatically replenishes over time. The amount replenished per tick increases with each medallion held. Once you picked one of these up, you would generate shield up to 50 shield, but if you managed to get more than one, your shield cap would increase and you would gain even more shield every second. It was so insane. If you managed to collect all 5 medallions, you'd basically be walking around like a mini boss. So much so that Epic actually nerfed this and ended up capping how much shield you could get per medallion. And now we move on to a level 5 medallion. These are good medallions. This is the realm of more balanced and useful medallions, and they're also very good to play with. They might add in different play styles or just combo really well with certain items and mechanics. And I'm also taking into account of how difficult it was to get these medallions. I gotta put pressure on this dude.
There we go. We got the medallion.
At this level, you start to consider going for them almost every single game. Siphon feels so good when it's in rank, which is why I put both Aspect of Siphon and Doombot Siphon Medallion as level 5. Now, I do want to mention that the Doombot Medallion might have been considered great after Fortnite added Siphon back into season 4. That means this medallion was actually giving you 100 siphon instead of 50, and it made it a lot more broken. I'm going to keep it as a level 5 though, as I don't think that was actually intended. I also want to say that the Machinist Medallion, Unstoppable Medallion, Megazord's Medallion, and Godzilla's Medallion helped change the playstyle without being completely too broken. And although Godzilla's was similar to Aspect of Agility, Godzilla's wasn't in tournaments, so it didn't really affect the meta.
I did the most damage though, so I got the Godzilla Medallion. I'm just cleaning up house now.
Now we move on to a level 6 medallion. These are great medallions, and now we are in unbalanced territory. Some of the movement you can get with these was absolutely insane and made it impossible to get hit. And some of them would give you insane healing. Now, I wouldn't say these were so broken that they would determine how an entire FNCS plays out, but they definitely had a great influence on the results. They're just overall great medallions, and most players want them in their loadout. With both the Shogun X medallion and the Megalodon's medallion essentially giving you an infinite sprint that is extremely massive for movement and absolutely devastating in the inventory of a good player. We also have the Carapace medallion and the Shrouded Striker medallion. All of these are extremely solid and great medallions, but they're not quite level 7. So what makes a level 7 medallion? The final level. These are absolutely broken medallions. I'm talking level 7, the strongest medallions Epic could even come up with. They were so insane that they assisted Peterbot in having a full sweep in Chapter 5. They made him and Pollo completely unstoppable. Medallions that as a pro player you had to have if you wanted to win. All 4 of these medallions have certainly earned their place on this list, from pros fighting over drop spots to get them, to the majority of the Fortnite community agreeing that the Chapter 6 Season 4 medallions were absolutely broken. The combination of a Spring Leg medallion and the Surge medallion in the right hands made you unstoppable. Even a lot of the content creators were absolutely destroying lobbies once they got their hands on them. Epic agreed and actually removed them from the game after just 15 days. And throughout all of Chapter 5, Peterbot and Pollo showed us how insane the Aspect of Agility and Emma Frost's Reveal Medallion were in their respective seasons. These medallions helped them conquer in the FNCS and win every single Cash Cup during that season. And there it is, level 1 all the way to level 7. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments, and let me know what you think I should rank next. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.